Hi friends, welcome to IT Port. In this session we are going to see about fetching and scrolling options in SQL Server. Fetch means the operation to retrieve a row from a cursor called a fetch, and scroll means used to move the cursor position forward or backward in the result set using with fetch options. So there are 6 types of fetch options in SQL Server. First one is fetch first. Fetches the first row from the cursor, and fetch next means fetches the next row from the last fetched. Fetch prior means fetches the previous row from the last fetched. Fetch last fetches the last row from the cursor. Fetch absolute used to retrieve the nth row from the first row in the cursor. It may be a positive or negative integer. And fetch relative used to retrieve the nth row from the last fetched row from the cursor. It also may be a positive or negative integer. In the fetching and scrolling options, we have to note that when a cursor is opened, the current row position in the cursor is logically before the first row. So let us check with the simplest example for this. The table student used for these explanations. There is student ID and student name, and with 5 rows. Here declared in the static cursor. Static cursor for select student ID and student name from student. Order by student name. So we have declared 2 column variables. And open the cursor and fetch first from that current cursor into the column variables. So the first we are checked with first. Fetch first. So it fetches the first row from the cursor. So checking with fetch status and just print the first of that first row student name. Again using fetch next fetches the next row from the last fetched. So within the fetch status we have just print the next row, and fetch last used to fetches the last row from the cursor. So checking with fetch status and just print the last row. Fetch prior used to fetches the previous row from the last fetched row. Just print the prior. And this is absolute 2 used to fetch the nth row from the first row, and absolute -4, this is reverse from the first row, and relative 2 fetches the nth row from the last row fetched. So this is the difference between absolute and relative. Absolute is used with first row. Absolute nth row used to fetch the nth row from the first row, and absolute negative used to fetches the nth row from the last row, and relative 2 used to fetches the nth row from the last fetched row, and relative -2 is used to fetch the nth row from the before the last row fetched. See, just execute this cursor. So this is first. So fetches first used to retrieve fetches the first row, that is around, and next next is used to fetches the next row from the last fetched. So Babu, and last is fetches the last row from the cursor, and prior is used to fetches the previous row from the last row fetched. So last row fetched is fossil, so prior is ancient. Absolute 2 is used to fetches the nth row from the first row. So 1 and 2. So this is the absolute 2, second row, and absolute minus 4 is fetches the nth row from the last row. There is 1, 2, 3, 4. So absolute 2 and absolute minus 4 are equal. That is, absolute 2 means positive integer. When used with positive integer, it fetches the nth row from the first row, and negative is used to fetches the nth row from the last row. That is absolute. And relative 2 is used to fetch the nth row, fetches the nth row from the last row fetched. So that is last row fetched last row is Babu. That is this. So relative 2 is fetched the nth row from the last row fetched. That is Einstein. So relative minus 2 is used to fetch the nth row from previous. So last row is Einstein, and fetch the minus 2 second rows. That is Babu. So these are the simplest example for fetch and scrolling. Using these fetch options, we can work out with the cursor what we need. So this topic will be very useful to you. If you like these sessions, please like and subscribe. Thank you, friends.